Hello guys, welcome to another video. In this video, we would be doing small POC on multi-agent system where we will have a supervisor agent and then few other member agents. So this agent will decide on which agent to trigger based on the query we ask. Okay, let's assume this POC is for one of the mobile app, okay, kid play app. Okay, so in case if any of the user want to have some tech support on how to use the app and all, then the supervisor agent should decide that this question is related to tech support and it has to trigger the tech support agent. So what is tech support here is like I have set of RAG questions. So for tech support, we are using the RAG. Here we have some FAQ questions about our app, and based on the user query, it has to fetch the specific answer and respond to us. That's the major thing. So whenever the user asks anything about the app, mobile app, then it has to trigger the tech support agent, and then in this tech support agent we are using the RAG. I'll show you the code. And then in case if the user wants to know about some billing and account related information, then the supervisor agent should decide to trigger the billing and account agent. So in this billing and account agent, we are using the Postgre table where we have a table like this, kid play users, where we have all the information about the user, the password, mobile number, the subscription plan, the subscription amount, the add-ons purchase, the number of multiplayer option is there or not, all these kind of scenarios, the billing address, subscription expiry date, and all those things. So if the user question is related to this subscription and some account related information, then the supervisor agent has to trigger the billing account agent. In case if the user want to submit some kind of feedback, then the supervisor agent has to decide to trigger the feedback agent. So in this feedback agent, we will be just updating the database. Sorry, we will be just updating the one of the text file here. If you see, I just have a kid play feedback, so where user will just update whatever the feedback we type. Okay, so now let's come to this code. If you see, I've just updated the OpenAI API key. That's it. I've just imported the liquid modules and classes or methods, and then I am getting the Postgre connection. So this engine will have the Postgre connection to my local database. And if you see, these are all the member agents. The member agents are the tech support, billing accounting, and the feedback. Okay, and at the end, the finish. That's it. If you see, the code starts with the supervisor agent. So I have a prompt. That prompt is for supervisor agent. You are a supervisor agent responsible for managing the conversation among these worker agents. So I just gave some clear prompt. Okay, for the supervisor agent, so that it behaves accordingly. And then I have a class, router class. If you see, it has one attribute called next, and it takes these options. What are all the options here? All these members. These are all the options. Okay, so and I'll tell you why I have this router class. Okay, so now I have an LLM and I have a state, and if this state inherits the message state, that means in my previous example I was using the messages attribute here. Okay, instead we have another option called messages state, where we can inherit in our state, so that we don't need this attribute, and this attribute will come inbuilt. So it will even track the messages as well in case if you inherit this particular class. That's it. So now I'm creating a node. We know, right, in Langgraph we create the nodes for every agent. And in case if you are not sure, I request you to watch my Langgraph tutorials where I have explained everything from scratch. So I'm just creating the node here, and in this node, if you see, I'm just having a messages. This is a system message and the system prompt, the one which we have to give here, and the messages. Okay, if state of messages, what is state here? This one. What is state here? This one. So we can access the messages because we are inheriting this particular class. Okay, and now if you see, this is where we are using the router class. If you see, the LLM, when we ask some question, it again responds in the natural language, right? So I don't want that natural language response. Instead, I want it to respond with one of the values in this attribute next with these values. What are these options? The member names or the agent names. So in case if you want the LLM to respond with some values instead of just a plain text, then we have this particular method, LLM dot with structured output. The output should be in this kind of specific structure only. That's what I am saying. I am just invoking the LLM. So the response I am just capturing. So in here, go to means See, if you see the response of next, so our variable is next here, right? So response of next, this will have which agent it has to trigger, the name of the agent. In case if the go to is finished, we are saying go to end, or else we are just returning this. If you see here, we are returning with the class named command, which comes from Langgraph.types only. And what this command does is, command is used to decide which agent to trigger. If you see here, this command has two attributes. One is go to. Go to means which agent it has to go to. Using this command only, this supervisor agent is triggering the specific agent. Okay. And then update. Next to go to. So what are we updating? Do you think we are updating this router? No, we are updating this particular state. If you ask me why we have this next two times, this is for the supervisor agent to respond which agent it has to trigger. Okay, and this is for the state. So in this state we are literally having two attributes. One is the messages and the second one is the next. So which agent it is going to. So we have to have that particular value in some state, right? So that we can access it any point in time. That's what we are doing here. So we are updating the state, one thing, and then we are saying which agent to trigger using this particular class named command. And now if you see the next are the agents which we have. The one is a tech support agent. If you see, I'm just reading this MD file, that's it, and I'm just doing an embedding using the OpenAI embeddings, and I'm storing them in the vector in-memory vector database called FAISS. That's it, and I'm just querying it with this retriever. Retriever here is nothing but vector store.as retriever. If you want to know more details about retriever, I particularly have a video about retrievers in my Langchain playlist. You can watch that. So we can use this particular chain and get the response from this .md file. That's it. Because in this .md file we have all the FAQs, and we are literally doing the RAG here. Okay, and now if you see here, this is the tool which is being used by our agent. How do we create an agent in Langgraph? We have a method called create react agent, using which we can create the agent. One is the LLM, and the second is which tool this particular agent has to use. It has to use the tech support tool. Here we are creating a chain using this another method and literally doing a RAG. That's it. And we are just prompting what it has to do. That's it. And now once we have created the agent, we can easily create the node, right? So first we have created the tool, and then we are creating the agent, and then we are creating the node. That's it. And now once we are triggering, we'll get the response, right? So again we are updating the state. That's it. And then we are saying go to supervisor. Using this particular command class, we are saying again go back to the supervisor, and we are updating the state messages, okay, with whatever the content we get. That's it. And again we have another agent. This is one of the method which is helping us to get the schema of the table we have, the kid play user. About this particular table schema we'll be getting, we are using that inside the tool. And if you see, this is the tool, and what this tool does is it takes the schema and it takes the user question and tries to build the SQL query based out of it, and triggers that particular SQL query and get the response from the Postgres. This is another tool, and this tool is used by another agent. If you see here, I'm just creating a prompt, a chain. Okay, here I'm getting the schema, and using the schema and the question, I'm triggering the chain, and I'll get the SQL query because I have prompted to return only the SQL query here. You are an expert SQL query generator. Based on this question, please generate the SQL query. And that SQL query I'm just taking, okay, generated SQL, and I'm triggering in the Postgres, and I'm getting that particular information. How I'm triggering? Using this engine. Engine is what I have showed you above here to get the Postgre connection. This one to get the Postgre connection. Now we are getting the output. Okay, now we have the tool ready. So once the tool is ready, we have to create the agent. So we are creating the agent here, and similarly using the create react agent again. And this is the agent. And once we have the agent, we do create the node, right? So here we are creating the node inside which we are using the agent, and we are just again returning this particular command where we are updating the messages, and we are saying which the particular agent it has to move to next, because the work is done here. And similarly, I have another agent called feedback. Here I have a tool. In this tool, I'm just writing that feedback which is given in this file name, kidfeedback.txt. That's it. If you see, I'm just opening a file and writing in this particular path. This is the feedback which I have written. That's it. Now if you see, once the tool is ready, we can create the agent using the prompt. Once the agent is ready, and we are creating the node, and inside which we are using the agent, and we are doing the same stuff again. Now as we know, in Langgraph, we first use this particular class to create the graph using the state class which we have created. Right now in state class there will be two arguments. One is messages and the another is just the next to which agent it has to move to, this particular stuff, these two. That's it. And now if you see, as we have created this builder graph, now we have to add the edges and nodes as well, right? So the edges has been already added. If you see, using this particular command, we are literally saying to which it has to go. Everywhere, in every agent we are doing the same, where it has to go. So after every agent we are saying to go to supervisor, right? And in the supervisor agent we are saying to go to the specific agent based on the user query. So now if you see, we are just adding the nodes, that's it, and we are compiling. And now if you see, this is how we got start, go to supervisor. From supervisor it decides which agent it has to go to, and again from agent it has to go to supervisor. This agent go to supervisor, this agent go to supervisor, and after that go to end. Supervisor will decide when to go to next. I will show you triggering a specific question related to each particular agent. Okay, if you see, how can I create an account in KidPlay? I just asked the very basic question, how can I create an account? So now if we go to this kidplay.md, I have this particular question created. How do I create an account? So it should respond with this particular answer. Not exactly, but LLM will refresh this particular answer. So now if I go here, it has triggered this particular agent. To create an account in KidPlay, open the KidPlay app on the device, follow the guided on account creation section, ensure that you have parental permission as is. Now if I go to this MD, it has this same question, parental permission is required, so guided through the sign up process. That's it. So it worked fine. Now if I come to the next message again which I have triggered, this is my particular phone number. Can you please help me with the subscription year, subscription plan I have and the subscription amount I have paid. So when I trigger, it has clearly responded. It has generated the SQL. Okay, just with my plain text, it has generated this specific SQL and then it has executed this particular SQL and it has returned it. And it has returned the output. The subscription details for the phone number are as follows: subscription year, subscription plan. So I just took the same SQL and I have executed in my Postgres. If you see this particular SQL, and this information only has come up over there. That's it. So in this agent, it is just creating the SQL query and executing it in our database. And now we have the third one. And if you see, I just mentioned like I didn't like the UI of the app. It's so clumsy. So it thought it's a feedback stuff. The supervisor agent has thought it's a feedback stuff. And then it has triggered the feedback agent. Now if you see, it has asked me for the feedback and it has written into this particular file. It's the worst UI, not sure who designed it. It's a fraud app. That's it. This is how we can design the multi-agent system in Langgraph. The major thing which we need to be aware of is on how to guide. First we have supervisor agent, and then the major stuff is this one, the go to supervisor and update the messages at every point in time. And we are using this particular state class to go and this particular attribute from navigate from supervisor to the member agent and the member agent to back to the supervisor. That's it. So that's it. So this is how we design the multi-agent or with a supervisor agent using Langgraph. That's it. Thank you so much for watching.